Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week on the show, I am joined by Miles Kirk for a game of It Was Always About Us. It Was Always About Us is a conversational role-playing game for two players about the life and career and intertwined relationship of a superhero and a supervillain. Over the course of the game, our hero and our villain meet, ask and answer questions, allow their nemeses to reveal things about themselves that they have no control over, clash to achieve their goals, and live out their adventuring careers through each other's eyes. This game is beautiful, and we only played through a sample of the game. We only played through a few of the game's 8 scenes. I think we played through 2 of them on the episode, and we ended up telling a beautiful, haunting, affecting superhero story that I adored. I really cannot recommend this game enough. I really think that you should go pick it up because I think you're gonna love it. I think it's such a beautiful, wonderful superhero game, and that comes from someone that has written superhero role-playing games. You can find a copy of It Was Always About Us at bjky.itch.io, or you can check the show notes. Miles is a game designer, a podcaster, a producer and cast member on Prison Pals, an all-ages quest actual play where 5 LGBTQ+ individuals tell a diverse and inclusive story. He is also a frequent guest on Off the Table, as well as a variety of other podcasts and streams. You can find them on Twitter at SuperQueero, and he's just a delight to play a game with. I just want to put that in there, because I had a great time with this recording, and I'm feeling really, really good today. And, let's see, no ads, I think that's all we do here, so let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past, so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. Thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, real quick, before we get into our extremely exciting game, why don't you take a moment to let the lovely listeners at home know about anything you've got going on that you might want the audience at home to know about?
Hi, I am a producer and cast member on the Prison Pals podcast. We are an all-ages, all-queer, actual play podcast. I can also be found on Off the Table, streaming and podcasting with them. I design games in my spare time sometimes. None of them are 2-player because I have all of 0 experience with 2-player games. This is probably the second one I've ever played in my life. I play games where you drink as your main mechanic, and that is it.
You got me sold. You got me.
Yeah, it's really great, and they're really popular for some reason. I don't know. And I also sometimes design some merch because I make inappropriate jokes and people laugh, and I like to sell them and monetize my hobbies. All of those things can be found through my Twitter account, which is at SuperQueero, because I have a brand of superheroes and being gay, which is why I'm here with Jeff to play gay superheroes.
That is correct. That is confirmed. That is what we're doing today, and I'm glad. I am personally glad that we can rep your brand so thoroughly on this episode. Now I'm all kinds of excited because this week we are playing It Was Always About Us, which is a role-playing game for 2 players in which we are going to play out the life and career of a superhero and villain and tell the story of their deeply intertwined. Yeah, we'll say it. They're deeply intertwined. Pretty gay relationship, frankly. I imagine that's going to be a thing that we explore over the course of play. And I'm pretty damn excited about it.
I said this will be the first time I meet Jeff, and I'm going to be a gay superhero with him. It's going to be great.
Honestly, I live my everyday life as a gay superhero, so I get it. Mood. Same. Okay. So I guess the first question is, do you want to play a superhero or a supervillain?
I really have no preference, honestly. I usually go superhero, so I feel I should go villain, but I feel like that's stepping out of my comfort zone, so maybe I should. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I was kind of I literally opened up. I have a shared Google Doc for us to review the game mechanics, and I literally looked at the words hero and nemesis and immediately floated towards nemesis. So if you want to play hero, that would work for me.
You said I want to be a nemesis.
I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Today I'm going to be a nemesis.
All right, I'll be a hero. I'll be a SuperQueero.
All right. So we've decided who's going to play the hero, who's going to play the villain. We're now going to each of us is going to choose a superpower or ability and write down our public name and our adventuring name. Everything else about our characters will kind of be fleshed out during play by asking and answering questions and clashing with our most hated nemesis.
Okay. I had some thoughts driving home from the gym today about what my superpower was going to be, because that is the building block of any superhero. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I think I want to go with force fields and be
Force fields are cool.
super cute and defensive and protective of people. So force fields. Names, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Then really to maximize the villainous appeal, I'm going to go purely offensive, and I'm going to say my power is I don't know if I want to go I'm thinking it through. I want to be some sort of like criminal mercenary hitman enforcer type, because that feels like a nice contrast to a cute defensive force field hero. And I think my power is going to be weapon generation, like I can create weapons and guns and things.
Are they it's like bio weapons, like this is coming out of your arm, or is this like a construct you're creating?
I think it's a little bit in the middle, where it's a shade of like I am creating with some sort of bio force these sort of gun constructs that I then fire as weapons.
Some cyborg flavor.
Yeah.
That sounds cute. I dig it.
And my name is going to be, I'm going to make my name Hurt Locker.
Ooh.
Pronouns he, his, weapon generation.
And, okay, so you're Hurt Locker. You make weapons, I make shields. And I'm going to name myself... I'm usually really good at names, and I hate that I'm, like, blanking on this.
I'm making my non-costume name Wolfram Wesson.
Where did you get that one from?
The ether, the magic that is role-playing games.
AKA the bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's the bullshit. I felt like naming a gun villain Wesson as a last name felt right, and then I just needed to find a name for that good superhero alliteration.
I'm gonna go with my name is Safehouse.
Safehouse is a good superhero name.
And you're going to eliminate. What letters are jumping out to me on this keyboard? Ooh. I don't know. We're going with it. I wanted to go with alliteration too, and this is the name that popped out to me because I just watched SNL stuff yesterday. Lauren Ludwig.
Lauren Ludwig is a good name. These are both good, very classic superhero names, and I'm here for it. So now that we've created our characters, we have our out of costume name, we have our costume name, we have our powers. The way that the game plays out from here is we are going to go through a number of scenes over the course of our career. We are fated nemesis. We are going to cross paths. We are going to battle again and again and again over the years. And the way this is going to work, traditionally, this plays out over 8 scenes where we set a scene, we ask some questions to each other to set the stakes of the scene, and then we play out a superhero or a metaphorical battle. We're going to play through about 3 of those scenes today because the game, like, just for time's sake, we're going to play through about 3 of them and then an epilogue. And each scene will be made up of some questions. We'll set the scene. We'll go through some dice mechanics as we go through a battle. And eventually we'll kind of figure out who wins and who loses each superheroic battle and how that shapes the arc of each of our careers.
Totally.
So the first scene that we're going to play out, and as we'll go, we'll explain like the rules that we're doing through, the pieces that are going to make up our superhero battle. Our first scene is our origin. We are so fresh, so full of ideas about how this is going to be, so unsuspecting that on this particular day we will clash with the person who will become our nemesis. Who knows how the relationship will grow from there, but one thing is certain, meeting them changes everything. So that is our first scene. So what's going to happen is we're each going to decide separately and then tell each other if this is a scene where we are encountering this scene in our superhero face or our not superhero face. If this is our secret identity or our hero identity.
Yeah. And do we hold on to that before? So the scene rules. The scene rules set we have to pick our goals first and then do our identity.
Got it.
Because each scene has different rules and how it's set up.
Yes. So the first thing we're going to do is each of us are going to pick our goal.
You declare yours first, and then I declare mine.
I am going to... my options are disrupt an event, such as a graduation shop opening, big sale, or carnival, cause chaos in a public place, park, mall, street, steal something for a personal project, or hurt someone who hurt you.
Ooh.
I'm definitely going hurt someone who hurt you, because
Yeah,
that kind of ties
spicy.
into my... It ties into my sort of soldier of fortune vibe that I'm getting from Hurt Locker.
Also, your name is in the goal.
Yeah. That's even... Yep, I did not piece that together. Thank you for...
Hurt, parentheses,
yep.
locker, someone who hurt, parentheses,
It's
locker, you.
It's honestly there twice. Yeah,
was
it feels
calling
right.
to you. Mine are bring a criminal to justice, stop a minor crime, help build or repair something important to the local community, or understand your new power. Ooh, those last two ones are spicy. So you're hurting someone who hurt you. I'm gonna make mine unrelated. Like, I'm not directly related to it at this point, because we haven't officially met yet. So I'm gonna be understanding my new power.
Okay, I like that.
It's called to me.
That one jumped out to me as well. So now we're going to pick our identity for the scene, and we'll reveal them simultaneously. We're on a podcast, so we'll do them not quite simultaneously. So think it over, and when you've got your answer, we will reveal our identities.
Oh, I'm ready.
I am also ready. I am going with my hero, my villain identity. This is my big villainous debut, because this is me getting revenge on let's say the person that it's got to be the corrupt scientist that subjected me to the experiment that has turned me into the Hurt Locker, right? Like, that's what this character is hunting for revenge for.
Yeah, this is like I'm doing my civilian, whatever you want to call it, non-superhero identity, because I'm trying to understand my new power, so I don't have like a identity yet, really. I haven't adopted the Safehouse identity yet.
I like that. I love it. Now, one thing I want to look up, the one rule I want to look up is how many questions we ask. Is it just until we decide we're good?
It is, you ask a question until someone, instead of asking a question, decides to initiate the clash.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
And then you fill in the blanks of the lineup.
Got it. Okay. So, next up, our hero. What's the location of our confrontation?
So you're going after the scientist. I'm trying to understand a new power. I feel like I would go someplace secluded to do that, because, you know, you gotta hide in superhero stories. Yeah. So I feel like we're like on an overpass, like a street, and like I'm underneath the street, like futzing around with my with some superpowers happening, like on like a little like waterway, canal, whatever, and your stuff's happening like above the street, above me.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. The nature of this meeting, you are under this overpass experimenting with your powers. What the initial setup is that, like, I think we see that, right? We follow you because you are the hero. This is your comic. We follow you. You're kind of underneath. And, like, we see you maybe come down a hill or come down a stairwell along the side of the overpass to, like, hang out underneath. And, like, we kind of get we get some panels kind of following us back up. And I am above, like, I've been kind of walking next to you and slightly behind you. And when we see you come down the stairs, it follows me. And I, like, plop down and look off in the distance. I think we get this sort of weird moment where, like, a visor kind of appears in front of my face and does like the sniper scope thing, and we see some military trucks and like a black Lincoln Town Car are coming down this highway. And as this is happening, I like rub my hands together and I kind of grit my muscles and like start to like formulate from between my hands, from just sort of the ether, like formulate like a sniper rifle to take out this military convoy.
And I ask the first question.
Yes, and so there are 3 types of questions that you can ask. We have lists of questions. We can also ask a question that is not on this list and then just decide what category it fits in. There are neutral questions, and when you ask a neutral question, you'll roll a d6 and add it to what is called an attack line. We have a line of dice in front of us, or a digital simulation thereof. You'll put that dice on that line, and that will come up later when we are going head-to-head in combat. There are also vulnerable questions, which make you look bad, but in exchange, you get better results for the fight later. And then there are flattering questions, which make you look good, but then I get to. Then they make the dice you put on the attack line get a little worse.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we're gonna start with. Let's start with. Did you know me before today? That's a neutral question.
I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say, we met. I think we're roughly the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And we met at this sort of like high profile lab, very, comic book lab where they have high school tours walking through like semi-restricted. Yeah, very Spider-Man. And like I was working as a security guard at this facility, and like you are
and that's when I got bit by the radioactive force field.
Yeah, right. The force field bit you, and now you have powers. What do you? Yeah, I think I am there either working as security or something, and it's this sort of, and that is where we met. What do you think your character was doing there?
So you are working security at this lab that is doing all this cool stuff. I don't want to go with like the go-to that like they're like smart. I feel like that their like parent works at the lab.
Okay.
And it was and he was just visiting his mom who was a scientist or something like that.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. And so maybe I walked you to meet with your mom. And I picture, do you have an idea of your age? Because I'm picturing early to mid 20s.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll like go with college age.
Yeah. So I think I'm walking, and like I think that you and I have like a moment where there's a moment where like it is obvious that I am the young security guard, like I'm the junior guard, which is why I'm walking you to your mom as opposed to like doing actual security.
Yeah, you got the other guards were like, yeah, you can walk the kid. Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Try not to.
And so like that is where we met, is like, and there's probably a long, awkward elevator ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, where we know each other. I think maybe like we've seen each other around a little bit before that, but I think like that's probably the only like real prolonged interaction.
Do you think your character knew his mother? Or is it just like she's just like another scientist that worked there?
I think I know your mother in like an employer kind of sense, but like I don't think we're on like friendly terms.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I could recognize her in the hall, but I think it's the kind of like 3 departments over relationship where we might have had exchanged words at a holiday party, but at the same time I'm working security at that holiday party, so I'm not like there for chit chat.
You're still young and new and fresh to the place.
Too eager to prove myself. So like I'm, I think I think it's probably true in the elevator ride that we had, where like we're whatever chit chat we have, I'm very like, no, we're gonna just getting you there safely. A lot of stuff happening around here.
Oh, you're doing that like fake macho thing. Oh, yeah. I hate that. I hate that.
Yep.
Oh God.
Puffed up chest, acting very important.
And my character's like judging you the entire time because he sees right through it. It's like,
of course,
you are like 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Exactly.
It's like, you peaked in high school. Okay, let's move on.
Yep, you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong about this character at all.
Okay, so I roll 1d6 and I add it to my attack line.
Yes.
Ooh, and I rolled a 5. So I'll just. Is there like a set number for the attack line that they give us, or is it? I thought I saw 5 as most like the examples they give.
I think it's anything from 1 to 6, and you just kind of set it wherever you want it.
That makes sense. Okay, so I'll just set it like at number 3, and we'll start there because they shift.
Yeah.
That's not mine. It's yours. That's mine.
I'm gonna ask a flattering question.
Ooh.
Which is to say, I'm going to roll, and when I do that, I'm going to roll 2d6, and you're going to choose which dice goes onto my attack line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I'm going to ask is, in what way am I stronger than you?
I feel like, so we've established that, like, you put on, like, persona of being, of, like, acting like a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my character, Lauren, doesn't have a persona, is very much like, I think they're like more lackadaisical, more go with the flow. But even though yours, you try to put on that air to a certain degree, you are still a more of like tougher, put together than Lauren is at that point. Like, it's like he's judging you for like you peaked in high school, but you still are doing better than he is. And like, it's similar notes, like you already are kind of like comfortable in your power. It seems you are in control of what you do, whereas he's just discovering this about himself.
I like that. I like that a lot. I really dig that.
Cocky with nothing to back it up.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to roll 2d6. That is a 1 and a 3.
Put that 1 in there.
All right, I'm going to put that 1 in there.
And you put it right up against my 5 to start.
All right, it's there.
And then now we can put them wherever and shift. Okay. All right, you did a flattering question. I'll do a flattering question. Let's just get spicy. What do you like about me?
Oh, what do I like about you? I think I like that you, when we were on that elevator, you kind of openly roasted me a little bit. In a way that, like, kind of made me blush a little bit. Like, it was kind of clear that you were dunking on me in a way that flustered me, because I'm generally used to either being dismissed outright, or like, I'm used to having my macho act not questioned, but you kind of openly dunked on me in a way that was flustering. It was a flustering moment, because I'm not used to people picking at that. They either brush me off or they acknowledge it.
Like, you were just standing stoically in that elevator, and he's on his phone texting someone as it goes up, and you're just like looking ahead, and he looks over at you, laughs to himself, and says, "Your tie's not tied right."
At which point, yeah, beat red. I'm like fiddling with it.
And it's like, look it up on YouTube.
Yep, exactly. Like, no one, and because it's the type of thing where I've tied my tie that way for months and no one's said anything about it. So it just, having someone call me out on it in a way that was very direct completely flustered me. And I very much like that about you.
Mm-hmm. That's cute.
I like that.
Okay. I'm going to roll 2d6. 6 and a 4.
All right. Put that 4 on there.
Of course. And we'll just, I will move my 5 over and put my 4 where your 1 is.
So I'm going to ask a vulnerable question.
Okay.
And ask, what didn't I plan for?
Ooh, what didn't you plan for? So here we are under this overpass, or I'm under this overpass messing around, and you're trying to attack this motorcade of scientists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's I think we get like a shot from inside the Lincoln Town car, and this very corrupt looking scientist, right? Like, comic books are not subtle when we want to draw someone that really looks like they're up to something shady.
Oh yeah, he's bald.
Yeah, he's definitely bald. This scientist is like sitting in the car on a phone, like having a business discussion, and there's the motorcade around them, and they're who I'm gonna take out.
I think what you didn't plan for is that when you go to like take your shot, you like pull the trigger, and like the missile is like going down towards like the car, and I haven't noticed you at all. I don't know what's happening, but here I am underneath the overpass, futzing with my power, and all of a sudden, like, unleash like a huge ass force field that just grows from underneath and just makes the overpass explode from underneath. So your missile like misses because I've already launched the car in the opposite direction.
I love that.
Like,
that's very good.
Oh, shit. Oops.
And so I'm going to roll 2d6, and I get to pick which of these 2d6 results I want to put on my lineup.
Yep.
I got a 4 and a 5. I'm going to put that 5 on the lineup, and I'm going to put it right against your 5.
Scandalous. Okay. I am going to ask another flattering question because I need this to get gayer.
Fair.
In what way am I stronger than you? Flip it on you.
I think that happens, right? Like you flip the car, and I think that is like when I make the gun go away or the bazooka go away, and I like start to run down, and I am distracted and I am conflicted. Because I am distracted because like I have an objective that like come hell or high water I want to achieve, and like I want to like take you out of the equation, but I'm distracted on this other thing that like is my priority. Like you are just a nuisance, but you're also not in a hero identity. Like you're not in a mask, which means I'm gonna run down those stairs, see the cute boy that roasted me, and I'm gonna like get like immediately like be like I have to hurt I have to hurt this person that like was kind of cute and I thought maybe I had a thing with.
Ooh. I'm stronger than you because I have the charm at my advantage.
That is true.
Okay. I rolled a 3 and a 2.
All right. I'm going to put that 2 on there.
Let's move the 4 over and put the 2.
And I think I'm going to call for the fight here.
Okay.
Which means I'm going to ask you a final... Well, does the final question come before or after the clash?
That comes afterwards. So the clash is... We have to... First, you have to roll 2d6 and...
Take the lower result to fill in the blank space on my conflict line.
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to roll 2d6 and fill in, and then we'll read off the conflict line for the listeners.
Yeah.
So I have a 6 and a 4, so I'm going to put a 4 here. And then because I have a blank spot here on the first spot, I'll roll for this also.
Oh, so I should do that too.
Yeah, and I got 2 5s, so I'll put a 5 there.
And I got a 1 and a 4. Okay, and then there is reserve pool.
Yes,
so at the start of each clash, both hero and villain take 2 additional 6-sided dice and hold them in reserve. Don't roll them yet.
So for now, my conflict line as the nemesis is 5 5 1 4.
And mine is 1 5 2 4.
All right.
So we're pretty evenly matched.
We're pretty evenly matched. So what's going to happen now is we are going to clash. What's going to happen is we have a few actions we can take. We can strike, which is an aggressive, which is we go on the attack. We can trick, which is distracting or tricking our opponent, or we can reposition, which is like going on the defensive. And the way, you
go first because you initiated.
Yeah, so I'm running down the stairs. I see this. I pause, and I am going to just go straight on the offensive, right? Like I think I'm trying to take you out, but not hurt you. Like I'm trying to,
just remove me from the situation.
Yeah, because I think I'm in my head like the clock is ticking and I'm running out of time. So I just want, and I don't really want to hurt you. You were cute and flustered me. I don't want to hurt you. So I'm just going to like try and remove you from the equation as quickly as possible. So I'm going to strike. So I think I just kind of rush you. And I think as I'm doing that, I put my hands up in an X and like a riot shield forms in front of me so that I can just kind of like run you into a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's going to happen is I'm going to choose one of the dice in my conflict line. I'm going to choose this 5 right here, this first 5 of mine. And you are going to defend using the dice opposite the one that I chose, which is a 1. You can alternately roll one of your reserve dice and roll that to try and oppose. The higher value wins the strike.
Let's just do it. Let's just try it. I'm going to roll the reserve. And I rolled a 5, so we tied. We draw.
Equally diced match represent a draw. The attacking player describes a neutral or positioning action. The defending player does the same. Neither of us add a tick to our goal, and both dice are re-rolled but remain in place.
You're already just using a shield to charge me.
Yeah.
I think like the coolest thing would be like just as you're charging me with a shield, Lauren puts up like his own shield, and it's like very equally matched as we just you kind of hit me and we kind of hit an end pass and ricochet off each other.
I like that.
Both dice are re-rolled but remain in place.
Oh, both dice are re-rolled?
Yeah.
All right. That's going to be a 6.
We keep I also rolled a 6. We keep the dice, these positions filled, because even if we complete this clash, the scene might not be finished yet because we have to get 4 ticks.
Right. Okay.
And you didn't get a tick, and I didn't get a tick there.
Okay.
All right. So now it's my turn. I can do the strike, a preparation, a trick, or reposition. Okay, so I already used one of my reserve dice. I have 1 left. Mm-hmm. I'm going to trick. So I describe a distracting or deceptive action I take. Discard 1 of my reserve dice and pick up to 2 dice in your opponent's conflict line. They must re-roll the dice you picked. So I discard my remaining reserve die, and so we like ricochet off each other.
Yeah.
And I think because you charged me, and I was already like standing still and just like reflexively defended myself, I was able to recover a bit quickly.
Yep.
A bit quicker than you were. So I got up as soon as I got up and you're still like lying on the ground, and so I am able to, I guess he's still using these are new powers to him, so I think he is trying to like climb up and out of like the rubble, like because like this like overpass is destroyed. He destroyed the overpass. He's trying to climb up out of the rubble and like falls back down. So he like throws a force field like above you around more of the overpass, like basically chunking it off and destroying it more, and is dropping it on top of you.
Oh, that's brutal.
To try to like bury you because he couldn't get away.
I like that a lot.
So I pick 2 of yours.
Yes.
And you must re-roll them. So I want you to roll both those the 6 and the 5.
All right. That's a 2 and a 3. It's not great.
Sucks to suck, Jeff.
It does suck to suck. It does. That does do that. So I think I am going to counter that with a preparation action.
Okay.
Which is I think I have set up some mines along like this overpass so that if I had to collapse it on this motorcade, I could. And I think like just by random circumstance, like one of them falls on top of this pile of rubble, and I activate it, and it explodes. Yeah. And like the thing that is remaining is like a steel, what is like basically like a steel tower shield that I have formulated around myself as a protective measure to just get myself out of here. Like, and I now have some degree of control over the environment because I've planted mines, and like this was going to be the spot where this conflict happened, and we're fighting on my turf.
Nice.
So I'm going to roll 3 dice, choose 2 of them to, so I'm going to discard 1 of my reserve dice. I'm going to choose 2 of the dice in my conflict pool. I have a 2 and a 1, so I'm going to choose those. And then I'm going to roll 3 dice, of which I got a 3, 3, and a 4. And I'm going to put those into the gap, so I'm going to turn this 1 into a 4, and this 2 into a 3. And then discard the other dice, and that is my preparation action. So my conflict line is now 3, 3, 4, 4.
Nice. Okay, now I'm seeing. Because I was like, the ending of Clash is once the conflict lines are empty. I was like, but we haven't removed Eddie. But it's because we got to draw once you get a strike. Okay, so after you prepare, I'm going to go back at you with a strike. So I am choosing my 6 against your 3. So you clear the rubble away. I think this is kind of like where Lauren realizes like he's not going to like, he has to stand his ground. He can't, like, he has this new power. I guess he has to figure out how to use it right now. And he's going to get a little creative and try using force fields offensively. And by doing that, it's basically Squirtle bubble beaming you with tiny force fields.
Yeah, I think so. Which of your dice are you using in your clash?
I am using my 6 against your 3.
So I have I have one reserve dice, and I don't think I want to spend it. So I think I'm just gonna take that beating. I think I'm just gonna take the hit.
All right.
So tell me what happens.
So both
dice are discarded, and you are going to describe the effect of the hit and add a tick to your goal.
So I am bombarding you with like little tiny force fields, and I think as they like hit you, it's not really like that much of an issue for you. The issue becomes when behind you there are more mines that you lay down, and some of these little force fields start blowing them up. So you are getting pushed back by force fields as your mines blow up behind you, and you're like caught in the middle, and the explosion sends you flying a little a ways.
I love it. And yeah, it's perfect. I love it so much. All right. Yeah. So on my turn, I'm going to make a strike as well. I'm going to strike. I'm going to strike with my 4. And what it is like I crash into this bridge. I recover, and I think I'm done playing, and I think like I've realized that like you're throwing me around with these shields, with these force fields. So I'm going to try and overwhelm you, and I think I like clap my hands together and I start getting angry, and just the most cartoony minigun that you could picture like a mid-level boss in like a shooty game has. And I just start, like, spraying it on your force field.
And I have nothing to do besides take it, so you go ahead and narrate that win.
I think I break your shield. I think you have to, like, take cover. And I think, like, I reach the at least at this point in your career, like, the stress threshold of, like, your force field is I'm just unloading. And the second you take cover, the minigun disappears, and I go back into hunting mode as I turn and start to run off back towards the motorcade.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Can't do that. All right, so I'm going to reposition. Describe a positioning, defensive, or non-aggressive action you take. Swap 2 of the dice in your conflict line. Then your opponent may pick one that you must re-roll. So, once you break my force field and you go into like the hunting mode again, he is going to essentially make a flat force field and just do like a hover disc type thing and launch himself up into the air and get take the higher ground essentially. So I'm swapping my 4 and a 5. Which one would you like me to re-roll?
I would like you to re-roll that 5.
Why? You don't like it?
I don't like it. It's looking at me funny.
Guess what I rolled?
What'd you roll?
A 5.
Oh, God. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this turn of events. So I think I have one preparation dice left. I'm going to have you re-roll both. I think there's a trick, and I think what happens is I'm going to trigger another one of these mines.
There's so many.
I think there's just a bunch. I think I activate them all at once, think what happens is we watch two triggers, two remote controls form out of my hands, and I like hit the buttons both at the same time, and they just start popping off to basically force you to have to divert your shields to every little explosion, lest they compromise the security of the bridge.
Oh, damn it. Ooh, okay.
And in doing so, I'm going to discard my second preparation dice, or my second reserve dice, and have you reroll both your 4 and your 5.
Okay, so my 4 becomes a 4. I'm sorry.
I don't like
and
this.
my 5 becomes a... I promise these... If you want me to bring my camera down to prove them...
I'm not questioning this.
I rolled a 5.
I'm just unhappy. I'm just unhappy.
I don't use these all the time. I just pulled these out of storage from my move. These are ice cream dice. They really like me.
Apparently. I'm glad that you have reached this level of synergy with your dice, because I am upset about this.
So my 4 and my 5 become a 4 and a 5.
Excellent. Good.
And so I'm going to strike you with my 5 against your 4, and you can't do anything about it.
Yep, nothing I can do.
So I am going to you blow up all these mines. I think, what happened was you trigger all these mines to go up, and he tries to mitigate all the mines blowing up. And there's the few that he's grabbing, he's protecting the bridge, but there's also still some in the rubble around that are no longer an issue for him to worry about. And what he does with those is quickly grab them in small force fields and chuck them at you individually.
Oh, that's dope. That's very good. And I think that the first one goes you catch me right in the back as I'm kind of running from you. And I'm able to kind of spin and block against the others, but I'm completely off of my feet, right? I'm completely scrambling and I'm completely overwhelmed, especially because I'm gonna have my only move now is to strike with a 4 against your 5 and lose. So I think I grab my, if I may narrate the unsuccessful results of this.
You got this.
I think I aim a bazooka at you, right? Boba Fett wrist rocket style, like a little rocket pops up on my wrist and I fire it at you, but you are able to stop it in a very big hero. This is a big hero moment where you're able to stop it with a force field and reroute it back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the, go ahead.
Just a giant force field, not a giant force, but a force field that just pushes in you and your bazooka in a bubble as you're pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and so it
just blow yourself up.
Hits the wall, explodes. There is smoke and dust everywhere, and you only have 3 ticks, but I'm willing to call this the end of the conflict.
I was thinking the same thing. That way we can move on to another scene.
Yeah, I think we'll do one more scene, but I think that it explodes up, and I think the big cliffhanger is when the smoke clears, the force field is empty.
Mm-hmm.
It's where did I go?
And then the final question is yours to ask.
What are you fighting for?
I think right now, in this moment, he's just fighting for pure self-preservation. There was no ulterior motives or anything higher power type thing or protecting innocence. It was just, oh shit, there's a gun pointed at me. I gotta fight.
I love that, and I love the idea. As we go to our next scene, I think some of the what happens in between is I think that persists, because I think there's an element of in the grand comic book arc of things, there's the you stop me from getting revenge. Then there's the arc of I try to get revenge on you, and it just becomes a very persistent theme of as you learn to develop your powers, as you kind of find a place where you're able to do hero things and help people. I am always here not to. My plots are always I'm coming back for you. Like, you are the person that spurned me, you are the person that hurt me, you are the person that stopped me from getting my revenge and stopped me from getting this closure that I needed. I am going to get you. Like, it's always Craven the Hunter is the best way to describe it, in that, like, my goal always boils down to I am hunting you.
I think there's like a serendipitous, like, ironic element to it, that because, like, from like our setup of like the elevator ride, Lauren wasn't a superhero, and he was kind of like lazy and like lackadaisical about things. He wasn't trying to be a superhero with this. I think he falls into being a superhero and adopting the Safehouse persona because you keep coming after him, and he's just like constantly just trying to save people, and he falls into being a superhero because you keep attacking him.
Yeah.
So there was no goals for him except going on with his life, and he became a successful superhero out of coincidence.
I love it. I adore that. So let's do one more scene. Is there one that jumps out to you?
I haven't read. I'm just looking at the titles.
Yeah.
So if I can judge a book by a title. Okay, so I'm looking at. So there's Nemesis, They and You. Rise, What We Want, Chance But Not Always, Forced to Go My Way, Cracks, Intense Entropy, Fall, this moment. I think I want to go with Rise. Rise feels
good.
Yeah.
It's all been building up to this. We've been acting at cross purposes for too long, bumping up against one another on a weekly basis, messing with each other's business too damn much. It's inevitable that it comes to a direct confrontation. Did you start it? Did they? Does it even matter? What's important is this, is it is time for a showdown. It's just you and them. That feels like a good follow-up scene.
That feels right for what we just established.
Yeah. So hero and villain, we are both in our hero identities for this scene.
That checks out.
I'm going to declare my goal, which could be steal or destroy something important or special, cause chaos on a district or infrastructural level, kidnap or kill someone of importance, or complete a significant secret project. I'm going to cause chaos on a district or infrastructural level affecting the entire city, which is, I have decided this is me attacking you on the biggest level yet, which is like saying like, I am going to I can't beat you one-on-one. I think I can't beat you direct. So I am going to force you to overwhelm yourself, to spread yourself so thin that I can get in that kill shot. Like, this is my new plan, is I'm going to break your shield, because I know that once upon a time I was able to break your shield by overwhelming it, so I'm going to do that on the biggest scale possible.
And I think the antithesis to that is, because you forced him into becoming the superhero, this massive scale attack is what forces him to join an organization of local heroes.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
And that's his goal.
All right. So where is our confrontation happening as the city is undergoing chaos in what I can only assume is like a limited series crossover event? It's not like the whole publishing lines crossover, but it's like a good solid like 4 to 6 books are doing like a 3-month event.
This is the newly unveiled, refurbished city park, it is like they overhauled blocks of abandoned buildings, that were like decimated by a fire. And they made this giant community park with all these great things for like baseball fields and dog parks and all that stuff. And right in the center of it is this like walkway of heroes where there's like statues of notable heroes from the city. And that walkway, that memorial site is where we are.
And I think at this point you've already been, trying to solve things across the city, and there's a bunch of other local heroes who have been like pitching in, and finally like every screen in the most villainous gesture possible. I think like every big like advertising screen in town lights up with my face, and I'm like, it's time for your walk of fame. and then every like big advertising screen in the city explodes, and it's just sparks and bits of light are like showering all the streets in the city as you confront me here as I've made my big dramatic appearance, and I am leaning on like another statue. I'm just kind of like looking at my nails. I'm looking over at you. I'm looking at my nails. I'm looking at you, and I'm just waiting. Like, now that you know where I am, like, I'm pretty confident that I have the upper hand, so I'm drawing you out by way of hiding in plain sight.
Mm-hmm. And I asked the first question. I'm going to go with a vulnerable question. What scar or injury do you inflict on me?
Oh, I think there's a moment where my plan works perfectly, and you see me, and you know all the shit that I've done here, and you just rush me, right? Like, because I've been terrorizing you now for ages, so you just rush me to take me out quick.
No thoughts, head empty.
So it's just a rush, and I grab you, and I form like a knife, and I like slash your cheek. So we get that really good promo shot for the previews magazine where there's the blood running down the side of your cheek, and you're like in the fighting pose, but you're out. You're like, your mask is slashed up, and I pause and I pull the knife away, and I'm like, no shield that time. You disappoint me.
This is so spicy.
This is good.
I love it.
It's got some spice to it.
So I rolled 2d6 and I got a 3 and a 1.
All right, now things are coming back my way.
So my 3 is going to go in there.
Also, this is a teaser for the audience. I just looked at the final question that I get to ask here, and at the end of the scene, and I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I am going to ask... Oh, I'm also going to ask a vulnerable question, because I like this question. What am I blamed for?
I think in the midst of our first encounter, that explosion that I caused hurt a lot of innocent people. Mm-hmm. And the media, the public, they defaulted to blaming you as the instigator, and you were persecuted for hurting a child or something like that. It's something that's really messed up, but you're like, that wasn't what I was doing, and wasn't my fault at all.
And I'm the only person that knows that you caused
You're the only one who knows.
Alright, so I've rolled a 5 and a 4, so I'm going to take that 5 and I'm going to put it against your 3.
I'm going to ask a flattering question. Why do I make you happy? You went through all this for what?
You have never stopped being that. You have never stopped being that cute boy on the elevator. And that there is this tiny level of that, and it is twisted and distorted, and it is purely toxic. But there's always been that level of there's a level of infatuation and a playfulness to how I perceive our classes, which is entirely not how it actually plays out, because I am a gun-toting supervillain. But there's always that level of I am and I see myself. I'm gonna go for my absolute favorite hero trope or villain trope of I believe that I am making you better by way of our clashes. I'm seeing the growth that you are undertaking, and I know so, and I'm perceiving it as you are keep rising to the occasion, and we're bringing out the best in each other, when what it really is just I keep showing up trying to murder you, and you keep rising to the occasions to not get murdered. But there's this element of infatuation there, and there's this element of I think the other half of it is you have given me a direction. It was going to be, I was going to take out this I was going to take out this scientist, and then what? What? Now I have a person who is my equal, and who has given me a purpose and a direction that is much farther beyond just one act of petty revenge. And I've come to embrace my powers and my persona like on a level that I never could before.
This is a very toxic relationship.
Oh, entirely toxic. I want to disclaim this. I want to disclaim this as Jeff Stormer that this is toxic as hell.
Oh, but like in like the most cinematic way, it's toxic because you are pushing my character to be so like you just keep pushing and like he keeps getting better and better, and at the same time you keep getting worse and worse, but you don't see it.
Yeah. I see it as I'm getting better and better. Like my plans are getting more ambitious. I'm growing more control over who I am, but it's just that I'm becoming a worse and worse person.
You're just so blind to it.
Yep.
I like that.
It's dope. It's good.
I roll 2d6 and you choose. I rolled 2 5s, so you don't get to choose shit.
All right. Well, I'm going to choose a 5. Take that.
All right. Well, I'm going to choose to put that 5 next to your 5.
I'm going to take another vulnerable question. No, actually, I don't want to do that. I misread that question, but in retrospect, that would make it a flattering question. So you know what? I'm going to ask a flattering question.
Okay.
And it's going to be a question not on this list. How do you sink in the public's eye?
Oh. So for the audience, Jeff just flipped one of his vulnerable questions to make it a flattering question. How do I sink in the public's eye? I think I kind of stoop to your level.
Okay.
And this, like, because there's this, like, beautiful statuary that we're in the middle of. And whereas, like, as the hero and as, like, my name suggests, like, I should be trying to protect this this memorial at all costs. And it comes to the point where I start utilizing
that's good.
the statues as weapons because I need to get the upper hand somehow. So the public is like watching us clash here in this park and seeing me destroy memorials to great heroes that have come before me. And that's kind of like very poetic as I am trying to become a hero myself, and like it kind of was kind of in that trajectory to step into like a great hero mentality or image, and here I am tearing them down around me.
I love it. So I'm gonna roll 2d6. Would you like me to take a 5 or a 5?
I would like you to take a 5.
All right, I'm gonna take a 5. I put a 5
there. So I have a question also not on the list that I thought of.
All right.
Because you know that Safehouse is Lauren. Lauren doesn't know that Hurt Locker is Wolfram. So, and I don't know if this will be neutral, vulnerable, or flattering. How do I discover who you are?
I'm gonna say this is. I'm gonna leave that up to you as to what this is, because I think the answer is like we are fighting and you throw something at me and just like it hits me in the face and it tears like my very Splinter Cell over the top, spec ops and masked piece, and it just like tears that off, and I've just got the face, and you see me like head on face to face for the first time, and it's like, and like it doesn't stop me at all. Like, I'm still just rushing you, but there's that moment of, like, you are now confronted with exactly who I am.
I think this is a vulnerable question for me because I think this gives me pause, like, because I have to, like, stop and think, like, I know you. And, like, who knows? We don't know, like, if in day-to-day lives, what... No, because part of me is like, did Lauren try to pursue Wolfram after the fact, their little meeting, and Wolfram just like ghosted him? It's like, no, this ain't gonna work, bud.
I love that. Like it ties into that really toxic Wolfram mentality. If it's like, if Wolfram perceived it as, I can't do this because, I am making the sacrifice of not seeing you, when in reality, I just fucking ghosted you because I'm a shitty dude.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I roll 2d6 and choose one. A 5 and a 4. So I'm going to choose that 5.
All right.
And I'm going to bump that 3 over the moon.
I am going to ask, what are your plans after this? And this is a neutral question. Like, assuming this ends the way you want it to, what does Safehouse perceive as happening after this?
So in his ideal world, Safehouse would win this fight. He would lock you up.
Mm-hmm.
He would celebrate with his new team that he's joined from the events of today. And then he'd take one of the other superheroes on that team out on a date.
I like that a lot. That's a good answer. And it's going to get me a 2. Don't love that.
Ooh. I think the dice knew. They were like, he's going after you.
Yep.
I think I might initiate the clash here.
I think that feels, I was going to suggest the same thing, which means I'm going to roll 2d6 for a 1 blank space. That's a 4 and a 5, so I'm going to put a 4 here. And my conflict line is going to be a 4, 5, 5, and 2.
And I have a 1, 5, 5, 3.
This is an evenly matched spread.
Yeah, that was kind of like the last one too. Okay, so going back up to the clash thing. I'm going to make a preparation or prepare. Describe a preparation you made for this clash. Take a dice from your reserve pool and choose 2 of the dice in your conflict line. Roll these 3 dice and choose 2 to put back in the gap left by the dice removed from your conflict line. So I have this team that I've been working with throughout this entire encounter. I think you made this like huge show of like, meet me in the park here, and before going in, the superhero that I was like flirting with and going to take out on a date afterwards, I feel like he has a very similar superpower to yours, and like it's like very tech based, and has given me like an EMP type thing. So, but it's like a superpower EMP, so it kind of like shuts down the weapons that you're creating.
That's dope.
So I'm going to roll 3 dice, and I'm going to be looking at the one of the 3 that I have, and try to. So I have a 6, 5, and a 3. So I'm going to put a 6 where that 1 is, and a 5 where that 3 is.
And I think I'm gonna do a trick here. I'm gonna discard one of my reserve dice, and I think what has happened is I like a trick here, because I like that what happens is like my powers shut down, and for a moment like I am paused. And then I kind of reveal my master plan, which was like, this was never going to be a big superhero showdown of power. Like, I know where I have the upper hand, and, removing powers is just one part of the equation. So I'm just going to rush you and go for a double leg takedown and rely on the fact that I am an actual military, self-taught quote unquote military combatant.
You went to ROTC.
I went to ROTC. I have a gym membership. I think
Planet
that's
Fitness.
Yes, correct. I think that's where I'm going after you. Is like this was never going. I was never going to rely on my powers because I want the pleasure of having taken you down myself.
Yeah, because you know that the end all be all is that you are physically stronger than I am.
Yeah.
Because he is definitely a twink.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. I'm gonna roll my 6 and 5, and that is a 1 and a 5. So that 6 becomes a 1.
You suck. I liked that 6 there.
I know. I you know what? It was the right call. I felt like it needed a change, and I'm glad I'm glad it went how it did.
All right. Well, so while it's there, I'm just gonna initiate a strike with my 5 against your 2. I think so. You are like bombarding me with like actual like fists, and I think like while like he's taking that beating because he had no other choice. He just had to take that beating. The EMP kind of wears off at that moment, and so he also gets his powers back, and really just like grabs both of your fists, makes like a force field like dome between us, and like launches you.
Oh, that's good.
Back into like the main giant statue.
I'm gonna take that hit just because that's a great moment. Yeah, so I think I fly into that statue and it like collapses around me. And I think the strike I am gonna make here, and I'm gonna strike with my 4, and you have the option of rolling your other preparation dice or taking the hit. Is it falls around me, and that is when you realize that like there's a moment where like you're very proud of yourself, and you're like, all right, I got him, and then you realize that if your powers came back, mine did too. And you realize, like, I still wasn't using weapons. And that's when you look up and realize that I have revealed a new power, which is security cameras. And that's how everyone sees you're demolishing this park.
Okay. I think I'm just going to take it based on the fact that, like, we already established that, like, the public saw that.
I like that. And so
now we have 2 draws to figure out.
So why don't we go ahead and just re-roll both of those at once, and this will just represent us just going ham and just throwing down.
All right.
What does a cool moment of the fight look like? And then I'll describe the same, and we'll re-roll both our 5s.
I think after like revealing the cameras to him, like in that pause of like, oh shit, they all see me doing this, and then it's like, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is a fight, and if I have to destroy a couple statues, I have to destroy a couple statues. So like, it's just no holds bar, like 4 or 5 giant statues in force fields that he's about to chuck at you.
I love
it. Preparing a huge bombardment.
And I think the moment that I'm gonna describe is, I am dodging and I am blocking, and there's a moment where I just clap my hands as hard as I can, and all of those security cameras change into like GoldenEye style machine gun things, and they just start raining down on you and your shield. And there's a moment where you are just pinned down as there is like bullets hailing on you from every single direction. I don't like this. I don't like any part of this. I rolled a 1 and a 4.
I want you to guess what I rolled.
Did you roll 2
to replace my 5 and a 5? Yes, I rolled 2 5s again.
I don't like any part of this.
I'm so sorry. I feel so bad that the dice are like, no. The dice are like, we rolled those for a reason. Stop trying to change them.
They are what they are. Stop it. I'm so delighted at that. That is so perfect.
I picture like in response to like, so I like have all of these like those force fields with like statues encased in them, and you like switch these cameras to miniguns firing at him. He like starts like kind of like a centrifuge, like spinning the statues around him in a circle as like to create like one giant force field out of them, and then just like slowly makes them move apart and starts chucking them at you. So I'm gonna throw my 5 against your 1.
I'm gonna roll this other reserve dice and get a 2, so that's great.
I'm so proud of you.
And then with that, I my only option is to strike with my 4 against your 5 and lose. And so, yeah, I think what happens is, you have beaten me down, right? And like, I am like exhausted and I've thrown everything I have at you and I get up and, I think there is a very, I think there is a moment. I'm going to ask you the final question as I fail my strike. Because I think that there's a moment where... Because I there's a choice that I want you to make. Which is like, we've been fighting. And there's a moment where like I activate some more of those mines underneath a statue. And this is like the biggest statue in the park. And it is falling. And like you catch it with a force field. And this is a bigger force field than you've ever used before. And you catch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am too hurt to get out from underneath it. And in the time, and like, it's straining everything you have to hold it. So you have to decide, I think you're given the choice. Like, I'm not going to make it out from under this statue. You know what I mean? Like, if the statue falls, but I can't move out from under it. You have to physically go and take me out from under this statue. And so the question that I'm going to ask you are we really so different? How are you going to react to someone that has hurt you? Are we different after all? When you are put against a wall with someone that has wronged you, are you capable of making the choice that I couldn't all those months, all those years ago?
I think those are two separate questions, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
So, is he capable of making a different choice? Yes, because I think this entire time, like, he has kind of been able to see the progression of how you going after him has kind of, like, launched his, like, career, essentially, and made him something. And he has kind of adopted that superhero mentality, whereas, like, I can't just let you go, and I can't let this end just like this. But I don't think they're really that different, because at the end of the day, they were nobodies as people, as everyday citizens. Lauren was like a lazy, sarcastic, and just was gonna go nowhere despite having that cocky attitude. And similar with Wolfram was just like kind of stuck at a dead end job. So they weren't so different until the superhero personas kind of took over. And what happens in this moment is like Safehouse is like straining with this giant force field and this and the statue, and he kind of like puts like a little like effort and just like pushes it up really quickly, just like make it bounce. Not enough he can't do enough energy to like push it out of the way.
Yep.
It's just like push it up to buy him some time as he like runs over and like grabs Hurt Locker and makes a dome around them and lets it fall and explode on top of the dome that's protecting both of them.
And so that's that. That's the end of the scene. You have won. Which brings us to an epilogue, a time skip. Life goes on except when it doesn't. Who did you lose? Who couldn't you save? What ambitions are unfulfilled? Which regrets weigh heavy on your heart? This is what happens after. This is everything that happens after. We are going to take turns asking each other questions if we have any. Nobody has any goals in this scene. No conflicts are built. No dice are rolled. We're just asking questions about what happens after, and then we have 2 final questions to ask for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any questions before we ask our final question?
How does Hurt Locker eventually, or how does Wolfram eventually find fulfillment?
Wolfram pulling on the things that I love in comic books is when characters become when costume characters become side characters. I think Wolfram becomes I think Wolfram eventually is conscripted into like a shield-like organization, and eventually becomes like the trainer. It is a character that we only see in like small bits when characters are in this shield-like organization are training, and he's giving them tips on like wielding weapons, and he becomes
you're the Sky High Coach Boomy.
Exactly. Yes, perfect. That's exactly who I become. I am that character, and like that is all we see, and like eventually like I realize like that is who I can find real fulfillment outside of this. And
because you're like, you kind of like embody the whole like, I can push you,
yeah,
and I know how to push you to make you better,
and like I know all the ways that someone can hurt you, and I'm going to make it so that you don't get hurt by those ways.
That's actually really like clever.
What does the rest what, let me ask this, what is the crowning achievement of Safehouse's career?
I think there's a similar moment to that big fight between Safehouse and Hurt Locker, where the city as a whole is being targeted, and it is a huge like all-out attack, and Safehouse is actually able to stop it before it like hits the heart of the city, and creates what has been like the only time he's ever made something this massive, like a huge like citywide dome, and just protects like from the attack, and allows his team that he has joined to take out the villain in question, while he is able to protect literally the entire city.
I love it. That's an incredible moment. Do you have any other questions?
How does Hurt Locker view Safehouse? How does Wolfram view Lauren?
I think he never forgives him, or never. I think there's always that hatred, right? There's always that bitterness. There's always that kind of sense of like I could come back, and like I could go after you again. I think there's never a they after this fight they never cross paths again. But there's always that sense of like, there's always this lingering private sense of like, I could one day go after them. Like they are in the
one
most
that got away.
Exactly what I was about to say. They are the one that got away in the worst way possible.
Ooh, that's really sad.
Does the public ever forgive Safehouse?
I think that moment where he does that, like that giant dome, is that what he sees as his like redemption, his moment for redemption, that he doesn't quite get, because I think even after that one moment in the park, that there's still that ongoing, he's trying to be a hero, doesn't quite know how to, and is willing to do things that other heroes won't, and disregard certain like ethics along the way in order to succeed. So I really don't think he does get that redemption.
Okay.
Am I a good person?
Yes.
Would you like to expand or no?
I would like to expand. I think that Hurt Locker hates Safehouse. Like, I hate you in the worst way possible. But I recognize, but again, it's that very kind of toxic, like we shaped each other ideology, of like you've done amazing things and saved all of these people, and you wouldn't have done it without me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you are unquestionably a good person. And I think part of where the hatred really comes from is after a certain point, like I have moved on into another life, and I know you're a good person, but you have never credited my role in that.
Ooh.
Do I deserve redemption?
Absolutely. I don't think Hurt Locker did anything that was beyond redemption, that was like purely evil for evil's sake. Like, he was always trying to hurt someone who hurt him first. It was all revenge, which is not a good thing, but it's not inherently a bad thing. Like, it's not like you weren't causing chaos for the sake of chaos. You were trying to make a point, and you were trying to make people see you. And that is just, you need to go to therapy.
Fair.
Hurt Locker needs to go to therapy. I think that's where he's going to find some redemption.
There is a very compelling 6-issue maxi series that is released. It's sort of they brought in an indie writer to write the S.H.I.E.L.D. organization puts Hurt Locker through therapy arc, and like it really gets into sort of the issues of it, and it really touches on some serious. It's good. It won some awards, and it frankly deserved it.
Yeah, I think there's also like a limited run where Safehouse is it's the romantic lead up to the wedding between Safehouse and his partner on the team. And it's kind of exploring being a superhero on this superhero team that not everyone really likes.
I love that. Cut to black. Game over. That's
if you have a theme song, play it.
And that's game.
That's it.
That was a blast. Oh my god, I loved it so much. This game was good. Thank you so much for playing it with me. I had a great time.
Thanks for having me. I was really excited to be here after like 6 months of us.
I know, right? Of
scheduling.
We'll make it happen, and then just it's been a long 6 months.
Oh, please, you're telling me.
But we got there, and it was worth every minute of the wait because this game ruled. Thank you so much for playing it with me. I had the best time.
Same. Thanks for playing with me.
Real quick before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
You can find me on Twitter at SuperQueero. You can find me on the Prison Pals podcast, which is at Prison Pals on Twitter, and Prison Pals in any of your podcatchers. And you can find my games, which is the big thing that I'm really getting into now, at itch.io /SuperQueero. There's a part of this game, like the game mechanic of like asking questions and not being in control of the answers entirely is really something cool. And like one of my games, I wrote Our Town is a 1-page game that uses that same kind of mechanic about like growing up and living your life without being in control of it entirely. So I really dig this.
You're speaking my language here. I'm gonna download and read that after this call. Oh my goodness!
It's based on plays because I'm a theater nerd.
You know what? Who isn't? I figured that much on both counts, and it's just another selling point for me. So yeah. Well, thank you so much for playing the game with me. This was amazing. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me, and thanks again to Miles for coming on the show. This game was a delight. I love superheroes, and I love messy emotions, and just like, this game hit all of the things that I love in one easy hour-and-a-half package. I could not be happier. Be sure to head to bjkwhite.itch.io to pick up your own copy of It Was Always About Us, and be sure to follow Miles on Twitter at SuperQueero. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. Head to bit.ly/partyofonediscord to join our Discord community, and head to bit.ly/partyofonmerch to head to our merch store. And if you enjoy the show, consider leaving us a nice review on Podchaser or on iTunes. Support the show financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or Ko-fi.com/JeffStormer, or give us some love on social media. Say a nice thing about the show, tell a friend about the show. Any of those things help us grow and do bigger, better, and cooler things. If you're looking for a new podcast to enjoy, consider checking out All My Fantasy Children, the character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by listener prompts that I host every single week with my best friend Aaron Catano Saez. Every week we take a listener-submitted prompt, we spin it into an original fantasy character, and we populate a shared universe one story at a time. New episodes drop every Friday-ish at oneshotpodcast.com. Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers. And the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's it here. I think that's all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the force of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.